right, round 3 of the A-League men's competition is here, kicking off with Brisbane Roar and Sydney FC. We're here to preview all the games. Paletti, the Roar, back off the bye. Sydney, off 2 losses last week. Who you got?
I like the draw in this one. I haven't quite seen enough yet from Brisbane to convince me, and I'm not convinced by Sydney. They've had a lot of travel in the last few weeks. This is their third straight away game, including Champions League 2. I had to remember what the name of the bloody competition was called for a second there. So much change. They've got injuries to Lolly, got injuries to Costa. It's just going to be tough. I see this being a draw, honestly.
Christian, is this perhaps the game, Sydney, a few injuries and Brisbane Roar, get that winning streak going for their 4th place finish this year?
4th place. What's that comment on YouTube where it was an absolute ridiculous... Well, was that you, Lockie? It said Lachlan Abel, the comment.
Oh yeah, no, I commented on on our own video saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that was someone else, it would have been pretty funny. But no, I think the couple of injury concerns will impact Sydney, especially given the travel as well from the ACL to at home in Brisbane at Suncorp. Yeah, I'm probably leaning with Paletti in terms of maybe a draw. Still don't see Brisbane winning. I just haven't seen enough from them against Auckland in that opening round to suggest, that they can get a win here. But yeah, if I had to tip, I'd probably say a draw.
Am I the only one that thinks Sydney is going to win this?
No, you're not. I think they're going to win too. I just wanted to...
Are we all writing Brisbane off already?
I am,
in this game.
I had done pre-season, so I'm maintaining the same stance I've had for them the whole time. But Sydney didn't look terrible against Auckland. It was like we were saying on the pod, they just were perhaps a little bit unlucky, misfortune, VAR calls, things like that happen in football. And that was without Lolly for the most part, without Costa. I think they'll be fine against a pretty weak Brisbane team.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, let's go to the New Zealand derby. It's the marquee fixture of the round. It's going to be brilliant. Jacob, Wellington, Auckland, the first Kiwi Classico or clash, whichever way you want to lean. Despite of the football in any way, it's going to be an amazing occasion.
Yeah, a great moment for New Zealand football as well, right? Where it's sort of been looked down upon, at least from here in Australia, and now they've got the two teams that are top 2 on the table, Auckland FC, who obviously have won both their games. They beat a really strong Sydney side. And, this is their third real test. You've gone from your first game in the league to your first game against a real title challenger to your first derby game. Like, that's 3 massive games back to back. To back, and obviously they're still in New Zealand, so that helps. There's no travel for them. Wellington have just played in Perth, so they've got a bit of a trip back, but it's going to be an absolutely tremendous game. If what we've seen from these two teams so far this season is anything to go by, I think it's going to be really, really tight, because Wellington have defended pretty well. Auckland have looked really good going forwards. They've also looked strong defensively. Wellington have looked to really pounce with balls in behind, but that's something that Auckland dealt with quite well. So it's going to be a really tight contest and 2 really solid sides. I honestly think that this is the most likely of all of these fixtures this week to head for a draw.
I agree with you, which is why the difficulty level for my prediction is maybe a little bit higher than what it seems. I'm going to say that a New Zealand team is going to finish the round on top of the ladder. So obviously, if Auckland wins, I'm good. But if there's a draw, that really hurts me. And even if Wellington win, if they get less goal difference than victory win, then I'm in trouble there as well. So that's my official prediction. I do give Auckland the slight edge. I do think Wellington are weakened, Christian, until they get Marco Rojas and Paulo Retro back into the team. But I think it's going to be tight. And more than anything, I am just looking forward to the derby itself.
Yeah, so am I. I think a lot of people think it's going to be a very tight affair, which I definitely do think it will be. But I just got this sneaky suspicion that there's going to be a lot of goals in this for some reason. I don't know why. I know that both defenses are very resolute, but I just see, just a crazy game to kickstart, the first derby, the first New Zealand derby of the A-League. I'll just see like a 2-2, 3-3 draw, something crazy like that, just to set the scene and make some headlines. So that's what I'll be going for, but not my official prediction, just putting it out there.
Look, I think for this one, I like the idea of Chiefy just continuing the good vibes that are in the next camp, and I think it's going to be a Wellington win here.
Okay, yes. Let's move on. Mariners Glory. Now, this is an interesting game because the Mariners are the team that, we've thought have not been doing too well, but at least in an A-League sense, they're still undefeated. 2 draws from their first 2 games, and they're going up against the Perth Glory side that does not look very good, to be polite about it. So I'm backing the Mariners to get back on the horse in this one. Christian, I think they'll earn 3 points and kickstart their campaign.
Yes, but I'm also going to add in my prediction here because both defenses do seem a bit leaky. So I'm going to say both teams to score in this one. I just don't see each defense keeping each other out. I do see goals in this game, despite Perth struggles in these opening 2 rounds. Yes, they were at home and they didn't score, but that was against a Wellington Phoenix side who we know under Italiano is, emphasizes a lot on defensive structure. So I do see Perth cracking the Mariners' defense because even the Mariners, I haven't seen any signs to suggest that defensively they're the same as last season. They're still getting into gear, so that's my prediction. And it's a 2-legger. So the other one is the Wanderers to win at home. So that's my 2 combined. Wanderers at home against Adelaide.
There's a very famous saying called the irresistible force meets the immovable object. And this is very much going to be the resistible force meets the movable object because neither of these sides can defend based on what we've seen so far this season. Daniel McBreen put something very interesting on Twitter. He gave us sort of perhaps an insight as to what he's going to do this week on his little tactics show, where he just sort of highlighted a Perth defender who was just doing absolutely nothing as Wellington conceded a goal.
Yep.
And I just worry that if that player's not benched, I don't even know which player it was, but if that player's not benched, there's going to be problems for Perth. The Mariners are just struggling so far this year. I see lots of goals in this one. This is going to be a goal fest. It's not my official prediction, but it's going to be a goal fest.
All right, from now on, if you don't say it's your prediction, we won't assume
we're
it.
going to assume it's not, yeah. But just because it would be funny, I think Perth should win this one. Just purely for the memes, because it would be hilarious to watch that after the performances they put in those first 2 rounds. If they came out and beat, it's not going to happen though. Mariners are too good for them. At worst for the Mariners, it'll be another draw. Probably if they just don't again come out the block strong enough and they do let Perth get into the game a little bit. But as we saw against Adelaide, they've got that ability to make adjustments at halftime to completely change the game, and I think that they're strong enough to do that, and they're strong enough to get a result here.
It's a brave person to pick Perth Glory to win a game until they've won a game this season.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I don't think everyone's going to get the first win, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Wanderers Adelaide, Jacob.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what to make of this fixture, to be honest, because the Wanderers haven't quite found their groove and Adelaide have only had the 1 game. And if Adelaide play like they did in the first half of the game against the Mariners the whole time against the Wanderers, they'll get the result. But if they play like they did in the second half, then the Wanderers will probably get the result. I don't see this one being a draw. I think one way or the other, a team is going to have the edge in this one. Yeah, I mean, sensibly, I'm going to probably say Adelaide will get it, just because defensively, I don't think the Wanderers have been good enough. I know Adelaide's defense isn't anything to write home about either, right? But I think that with the intent that the Adelaide frontline showed against the Mariners, Austin Ayubi, Stefan Walk, Zach Clough, Luka Jovanovic, that's a really good front 4, and they looked really, really solid against the Mariners. They just couldn't quite break through. Whereas against the Wanderers, I don't think they're going to have to work as hard to do that, and I think they will be able to create more chances. And I reckon that might be a little bit too much for the Wanderers to deal with. So I'm going to say Adelaide, but I don't see this one being a draw. I think our team is going to win either way.
Interesting. I definitely see goals in it. I probably give the edge to the Wanderers at home. Adelaide have to travel second game of the season. I give them the slight edge. Their front 4 is very good as well, and it's not clicking entirely into place just yet. But as you say, neither defence is something to write home about. And I think in terms of attacking quality, the Wanderers just pip it on face value. But it will be interesting to see. Paletti?
For me, I think I don't quite know what to make of this game. Alan Stajic came out and said that he's starting to see signs of where he wants the Wanderers to playing. Carl V had said that the first 45 they played on the weekend looked very much like the side who wanted to play the second 45, not so much, which sort of suggests there's some inconsistencies for this Adelaide side. You know, there a couple of players went down with cramp, but was Viet lying to us? Is there something more serious? And Viet just didn't want to panic Adelaide fans, as I see Jacob just smiling away. And so I think that's a good place to bring in my prediction for the week. Is I think that across the 3 games on Saturday, so the Kiwi clash, the Mariners Glory, and Wanderers United, there will be over 5.5 total goals across the 3 fixtures combined.
Okay.
Quite a low amount.
Yeah. Interesting.
For
All
3
right, we'll leave
games.
that there. Christian, finish us off.
Yeah, like I said before, this is part of my prediction. So I think the Wanderers are good enough to get the job done at home. I just see this as a big opportunity to bounce back from, a couple of poor results. I mean, the derby, we expected Sydney to be just a little bit stronger, but against Western, that was a pretty disappointing result to get only a point from that one, despite it being in Tarneit. So I do think the attacking quality is there, and Adelaide's defence is more vulnerable and deceptive to conceding a couple of goals. So at home, I'm going to back the Wanderers in.
All right. Melbourne victory against the Bulls. Christian, coming straight back at you.
This is a tough one to predict. Obviously, Australia Cup final rematch victory are going to want revenge for this one. But, MacArthur, you can say, coming off the loss against Newcastle, that they're going to want to bounce back. And then victory, having won that derby, are they going to feel, slightly flat coming out of the blocks to start this one, despite being at Amy? If I had to choose probably a draw for this one, this is probably the game where I'd probably think a draw is the most likely outcome in the round. There's just not a lot separating these two sides. Even, in the Australia Cup final, victory dominated a lot of the play, but just couldn't convert the chances, and MacArthur capitalised on one, if not only the one real opportunity they did have for the game. So, both teams are set up well defensively, and I just think it's going to be really tight. So I'd probably tip a draw.
I just think looking back at that Australia Cup final, victory did have the better of it. And MacArthur created... they didn't have validation made in that game, but they didn't create absolutely anything apart from the goal they scored. So I still think, again, if you play that game over and over, victory win more than they lose it. So for the repeat at Amy Park Lady, I'm giving the edge to victory.
I think the only result MacArthur haven't had so far is a draw, and so I'd back that in just to keep things interesting, keep people on their feet. I think Yakalish will get back on the score sheet. I think that if you look at the way MacArthur are playing, their front 4 are playing with sort of so much fluidity at the moment, and it's what Mile wants. He wants his players to feel comfortable moving around and doing what they do best, right? And that's Yakalish said as much at a press conference last week. I very much like what they're doing. I think they'll score. So I think this will be a scoring draw. Just because I don't think that PK is not going to let Melbourne Victory score, and by that I mean the players are going to fear the wrath of PK if they don't score.
God, I wonder what happened.
Sorry, can I jump
after
in
the
there?
Mariners game.
That might be a record if Yakalish does score in the first 3 games of the season. That's probably close to breaking the record. I don't know what the record is, but in terms of scoring consecutive games to start the season, 3
Jamie
games in.
Vardy style. I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'll
wonder if
look back at
Shane
that.
Smeltz had a really good streak going back in the day.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we could.
Sounds
I'm
like
sure
I
we
reckon
could
had a
look up
couple as
Andy
well.
Howe's stat guide, and we'll be able to find it out. Actually,
Send him a message.
let's get Robbie Thompson on the case, shall we?
Shatter stat
I
out.
think this is the one game that could rival the New Zealand game as most entertaining in the round, because both sides look so good, and the victory off of the back of obviously a really dominant first half performance against City. MacArthur off the back of a difficult loss against the Jets. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think victory will have the edge. I think that the midfield in particular is just... Teague and Valadon midfield is so impressive for the victory. And while MacArthur have looked really good going forwards, and they've got Curto between the sticks, I think it's that little bit in the middle there between all of that they've not been 100% perfect. Whereas for the victory, obviously, goalkeeper, obviously they're going to have Langerak coming in later on in the season, which will help boost that. And then, in front of goal, at least prior to last game, was a question as well. but the midfield was the bit that looked really good. So I think that now that Virgos is in scoring form, off the back of a game where they do get 3, playing some really high intensity football, I'm going to give Victory the edge in it.
All right, Plenty final game of the round, Western United versus Melbourne City, also now at Amy Park.
Yeah, Monday Night Football, public holiday. We know crazy things happen in Monday night fixtures based on last season, although they usually do involve MacArthur. Not the case this time. Look, I think that this game's just going to be fun.
That's it.
That's the only thing I'm saying. It's going to be a fun game.
Okay.
I don't know how, but it'll be a fun game. There's no Aziz Bayic. Jago's still out.
We don't know about Bayic just yet.
Sorry. One can reasonably assume that based on the fact that he has been given a show cause notice for assault of a player, which carries a minimum 2-game suspension, that unless he can prove to the match review panel, which it's entirely possible he will at the time of recording, we can reasonably assume that he is out. Western United, they are coming off a draw with the Wanderers. Ibasuki looks like he might be finding something. I just think this game has fun written all over it. So watch this be the most boring 0-0 golf that you've ever seen in the history of the A-League, man.
Well, if it is a boring 0-0, that'll help my prediction, because I'm going to say, I did say pre-recording, I said all blue teams are going to win. I'm changing it. No blue teams are going to lose. So I think that a 0-0 draw, that would help, because then obviously City wouldn't lose. They're a blue team, so that would be a good one for me. Victory, Auckland, Sydney, I think they're all in with a shout of not losing. And then obviously we're going to have an argument, whatever happens with the Mariners, as to whether they constitute a blue team or not. But we'll let that be for next episode.
I really want to see like a really rogue third kit come out from like Perth or something. That would be great fun, Christian.
No, it would be. I don't see many goals in this game, to be honest. I just see, probably a 0-0 or 1-0, something like that. I don't know why, but Western United games, I've been expecting a lot of goals. But even against the Wanderers, it just strikes me as this game here, just a really tight affair, and maybe a 0-0 perhaps, which won't bode well for Will, because obviously he's predicted 2-0 draws last round. He won't be quite happy with that if that eventuates. But probably a low scoring one in this one.
Well, let's go to Will now.
So for this week, my prediction will be 3 or more draws. I've just had a look at the fixtures, and I reckon there's a chance for some draws here. I went too hard with my 2-0 last week, so I'm going to pull it back a bit. But just go any kind of draw, and hope that comes off.
Which I think is entirely possible.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Yeah, that's a decent shout.
All right, there you go. There's our preview for round 2. We're going to do the votes. No, preview for round 3. I get this wrong every week. We're going to now do the votes for round 2.
Just before we get to the votes for round 2, I did do a little bit of a quick search. I haven't been able to find most consecutive matches to start a season, but overall, the most consecutive matches scored in is 8. And that was Andy Keogh for the Perth Glory in the 2016-17 season.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There you go. So we've got a few weeks left to go to catch old Ante. But let's get into the votes awards. They're up in your screen now. There's gonna be debate all over the place here. Christian, I know you prepared your notes. Do you want to lead us off with an opening statement?
Well, with an opening statement for sure, because I've said no red cards during the round, and you guys have said, okay, there's a red card after the game between the Jets and MacArthur. I believe, who was it, Paletti? Who got the red card?
It was MacArthur assistant coach Christophe Gamel.
Okay. And so I obviously haven't clarified, play specifically, so it opens up this whole can of worms. But this is my argument, right? If you go on the official stats, red cards, 0 to MacArthur, 0 to the Jets. Search that up. That's my argument. There were no red cards, so surely that doesn't count.
Christian, can I ask you one question?
Go on.
What colour was it?
It was red.
But
that's not the but it's not part of the stats though. If it says 0 red cards for each. So a ref can give a red card down the tunnel and we couldn't have seen it, right?
It wasn't in the tunnel, and he's getting 4 weeks or something for it. That's a hell of a red card.
Yeah. It's a lengthy one.
So
And
you're
this was
counting it as
also-
a
I
wrong
think this is a
prediction.
bit of karma. This is a bit of karma because Christian was in the group chat talking about how, it's dangerous to be so specific, Jacob. Well, why wouldn't you just say 7+ goals? And he's not been specific. And, well, look what happens there, Christian.
Yeah, you've got me there, to be fair.
Okay, so Christian's been
Right.
knocked down a few pegs. Jacob, you said exactly 7 away goals,
Yeah.
and you got 9. So if you had 7 or more, you would have been looking okay, but you haven't added that in, so it's incorrect technically for
Yep.
you. Paletti, you did leave a little bit of open air, so at least 12 goals. You got 14. Will didn't get either of his nil or draws. I think he's pretty far away. Now, obviously, Ross is completely off the face of the earth as well. Adelaide win, victory, don't score. 0 for 2. The debate is obviously going to come for me. I said Sydney and Auckland would be the most fun game in the round. Now, it was definitely a fun game.
Yes.
But was it the most fun in the round?
No.
Okay, what do you think was funner, Paletti?
I believe the Melbourne Derby was funner as a spectacle, and I'll tell you why. I don't think we can include, if we're looking at the idea of fun being these peak A-League sort of moments in addition to the on-field action. None of us knew. Actually, wait, no, I'm not going to make that argument because it's going to go against something else I was going to say. So never mind. No, look, I think just when you look at the Melbourne Derby as a whole, I think the idea of Grimace showing up was fun.
That is true.
I think the idea of the Melbourne victory running absolute roughshod was a lot of fun. The celebrations from the victory fans, I think, as a product, was fun. The idea of Aziz Bayich stumping a player in the McNuggets was fun as a peak moment. I think Patrick Beach just completely losing his mind was not losing his mind, but losing the ball, conceding the third goal. I thought that was fun. I think City's comeback for all of 5 minutes that it lasted was fun. I just think from a holistic perspective, it was the most fun.
See, here's my issue with that, is that the second half was mostly a non-event in the derby. And, the final minutes of the game are where you want stuff to be happening and building up. So if you were going to make an argument that Auckland Sydney wasn't the most fun, I'm actually going to go and say that it was, MacArthur and the Jets is the other one.
Yes,
Eli Adams scoring a brace and then the drama of
Penalty
VAR for the
save.
penalty.
Yeah.
But then I also think that, that goes right hand in hand with the drama, in Auckland. Sydney get this goal, it's ruled out. You had the penalty shout before that was waved away by VAR. And then, the goal gets overturned, it's offside, no goal. And then Auckland get the chance late, probably a handball. You've still got the slide on the grass that kids are coming down during it. You got the new team, the atmosphere is up. You can make an argument for MacArthur Jets, but I'm still going to pitch that Auckland Sydney is the most fun.
But is it
most controversy mean most fun? And I don't think I don't think it does.
I can see Lockie's argument, but there's one thing that really tips the scales in the favour of the Jets MacArthur game, and that's the guy in the Newcastle away bay with the lightsaber, the light up lightsaber, swinging it around. I mean, we're talking. Paletti's talking about off.
Well, then what
Grimace.
about all the Auckland fans with the Estonia flags? That's pretty fun.
But that's been through the last couple of weeks. That started a couple of weeks ago.
Last couple of weeks. I'm sorry, it's round 2. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and we're recording after round 2, so therefore 1 week, 2 weeks. Two is a couple.
The second week is the one I'm talking about. Okay, so maybe you're not giving me most fun 100%, but I'm definitely close, right? So then I'm going to pitch to you. If we're saying Ross, Jacob, and Will are incorrect, then by default we've left Christian, myself, and Paletti for votes. Jacob is the neutral party of the 3. Which way would you order those?
Ooh, good question. I wasn't expecting to have this much power. This is fun.
I'm just saying, I'm asking for a recommendation here.
Yeah, you don't get the final say.
See, Lockie, the game was very fun. You are correct. Was it the most fun? Well, we've had that debate. Paletti, at least 12 goals, so you do leave a little bit of leeway there, and we have been quite harsh on that in the past. Christian, there was a red card. You were wrong. So I'd have to put Paletti and Lockie above you, Christian. So I would say Christian is the one because there was a red card.
Well, in that case, sorry to cut you off, but if that's the case, I would argue that Jacob should be in the contention for 1 point.
No.
I didn't get it right either, and Christian's was closer to being right than mine was. I don't like to say that, but it's true that it was one red card versus the 2 goals, but it was a red card to an assistant coach after the game. Like I can kind of give Christian the leg up there.
Good etiquette from you, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm not going to completely give him no votes because he's been there before plenty of times. That's let him
Christian, where do you have these ranked?
Look, it is tough. Look, to be honest, Lockie, I'd probably give you the 3 for the most part, because I do see your argument. You have put a good case forward. I do see what Jacob's coming from with the Newcastle and MacArthur game, but I would give Lockie the 3. I don't want to sound biased, but I'd give myself the 2 and Paletti 1. Because at least 12 goals. That's a really
no, it's not.
You're averaging 2 goals a game, and this is the
what
A
have we
League,
been
right?
averaging this season
No,
per game?
It's across one
Sample
game.
size.
It's one
What did we have
game.
last
It's
season?
one round.
It was more than 3, right? It was more than 3 goals per game. So that is
Paletti's-
extraordinarily low.
But
Paletti, you've left yourself a go.
They've had to put it this low because there was only 14 goals. I know it's not, Paletti can't see into the future and go, there's 14 goals, so I'm going to put it at 12. But the fact that if they'd have put it up to say 15 or 16 to match the sort of expected, what it would have been last season,
but
they'd be wrong. So...
Okay, when I made this prediction, and I don't know if I said it last week, but when I made this prediction, I was looking at the week before where there were 15 goals across the 6 games, and one of them was a 7-goal game, which doesn't happen every week in the A-League, including 6 goals by one side. That's why I went to 12. That's why I went a little bit lower.
Can I make my counter argument, please? So there were, I believe, 3 red cards last week. Is that correct? There were around 3.
Yeah.
So 0. Basically, come on. No player's got a red. An assistant coach got a red card. So, okay, I can understand. Okay, there was a red card. Fine. But there was actually a derby being played and there was no red card there. So that was a massive opportunity to actually, because we know those derby clashes are very fiery. There are red cards in those fixtures, and the assistant coach has absolutely ripped me off after the game.
Technically, didn't get a red card.
I think I deserve the 2. I know I sound biased, and it's my prediction, but I just think it's more out there.
My last argument, because I fear that if I try to do anything else, I'm just going to talk myself entirely out of votes, is that if we are looking at the 3 predictions, who got their prediction 100% correct?
Yeah, but
and that's
my thinking. Prediction 100% correct.
Christian's
but it's
wrong.
about the low. It's about the low bar, though.
Yeah, but
would it matter if I said 13?
Even get over your bar.
Would it matter if I said 14? Where would a reasonable cutoff have been for me to be right and get 3 votes?
I
what
think
number
13.
would...
But it's a great...
Is it?
Yeah. But it's a grey area though, right? Because I've said no red cards. That could mean a play. I know I haven't been specific, but I can easily say there were literally no red cards on the stat sheet. Like you can easily turn from that perspective.
7 away goals,
before we
one
move
of
on
the
from
games.
Paletti's argument there, but before we forget about it, I think Paletti, what you're saying is obviously we have the scale where if you go further away, it's less impressive. I do think if you're going to add the at least or as many or something like that onto a prediction, if you're 1 away, that gets you within the realm of, okay, your prediction's correct, you automatically go to the top of the pile. But I think for something like this, if you're 2 away, that's when you start getting into the range of, okay, you're not, guaranteed to go straight.
Moving the bars again, because it was 3 when I made a similar prediction in the preseason, and I was 3 off. And you go, well, that's where we're going to say, this is where it starts to become a not very good prediction. And now Paletti's 2 away, and it's now it's 2. As soon as somebody's going to say there will be 10 goals this round, they score 10 goals. Oh yeah, but there could have been an 11th, or
that would be a good prediction.
So. Okay, well, we'll get it down. Let's say we could get it down to 13 then, because you're saying that 1 goal should have been ruled out for handball, is what you said.
No,
technically, I'm then within the parameters, am I not? Look, all I'm saying is that I got my prediction 100% correct, and that is my genuine reason why I believe I should get 3 points. Because there's no room for interpretation. There's no most fun, which is a very subjective way of
Yeah, that just
measuring
means
it.
you're making a boring prediction. That's all.
Mine
That
I've
means.
just
is
thought of another
concrete.
thing that's really going to help you here, Paletti, and it's using Christian's own words against him, because
God's
he
sake.
said to me, 7 away goals. Why don't you just do at least? Because then you're going to guarantee yourself it. So using that logic.
No, but that's a guarantee. That's a guarantee of point. I never said for three votes. Paletti's arguing three votes.
Yeah, but
I never
that's
said
still-
Paletti doesn't deserve a vote. I'm saying to
But
get
still,
points on the board.
Paletti is getting it spot on, and by your logic, is doing the smart move.
Yeah, to get points, but that doesn't mean Paletti should be above me.
I think
So
that's
how are we judging this? How are we
I feel like
going
we
about
have
this?
to. We have to vote on an order. So
I feel as though I'm going to get the one.
I'm happy with Lockie 3.
No.
okay. Well, I'm happy, and I think Christian. you
This
agree.
is not me
I'm
being
happy,
biased.
I
I just
agree.
think that is just so subjective.
Okay,
That-
that's the point of that's having fun with gameplay. It got 3 votes for me and 3. So okay, Jacob, Christian, Paletti, who are we saying for 2?
Well, if Jake
Okay,
said if Lockie
You
gets
two are
the-
going to vote for each other.
if-
Jacob, what do you
if-
think?
Jacob's going to say Paletti for 2, so I think Paletti's going to get the 2.
I am going to say Paletti
Yeah.
for 2.
Yeah.
Because I like somebody getting their prediction right.
Okay, I'll second you on that. So Paletti 2 votes and Christian 1. There are the votes for round 2. I honestly can't remember who got the votes in round 1. I
think
haven't
I
made a
got 3,
scoreboard
didn't
yet
I?
either. Jacob,
got
you
2.
made 3.
Christian got 2.
Christian got 2. So now us 3 are all on 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paletti, did you get 2 votes last week or nothing?
I don't remember.
Maybe
I think
Paletti's on
Will got a vote. I
Maybe it
believe.
was Will.
Yeah,
Will
I
got
think it
2.
might have
No,
been
Will
So
got
hold on.
2.
No, I got 2. I know for sure I got 2. I'm keeping count.
Will
I'm
got
keeping
1. Will
count.
got 1.
Yeah. Sorry. So we're on 3, right? Me.
Yeah, we're all
Lockie,
tied for
and
the
Jake.
lead.
So are we on eighth parameter for as in what, like fair play awards? So I got the red card for round 3, so I'm low in 3rd. Is that how it works? Is that
We'll count back. So whoever has the most 3s, which of course
Yeah.
Jacob and I are tied, and then whoever has the most recent,
recent
3,
one,
which is
which
me.
is you.
So sitting top of the tree at the moment, 2 rounds in. We've got a long way to go.
that's saying something, isn't it?
There we go. But the rules are all there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. That's our look back from round 2 of the predictions game. We'll see you next week for round 3.